Her sentence hung in the room like smoke that refused to disappear. Christmas night, polished cutlery, everyone pretending to be cheerful. Then she cut through the warm glow with a voice that could slice bone. You're the most pointless child we have. Everything stopped. Hands midair, glasses paused, eyes all snapping toward me as if I'd suddenly become the evening's entertainment. I rose slowly, steady as stone. Then stop ringing me whenever you want cash. Her face caved into itself, like someone had pulled the supports out from under her. For the first time, she looked small. Everyone seemed to freeze, thinking my line was a climax. What they didn't know was that my story had started long before any of this dinner drama. Betrayal never begins the day someone hurts you. It starts the day you trust them enough to let them close. Growing up, I confused sacrifice for affection. I mistook pressure for guidance. I convinced myself that survival was the same thing as belonging. Mom had a special skill. She only complimented me when I had something to give. I didn't see the game at first. Kids rarely do. She trained me well. The dependable one, the problem solver, the child who owed her for taking care of me. She bragged, "This one will pull us through everything." I thought it meant she loved me. Turns out I was more of an asset than a child. The unraveling began about 3 winters ago. Hospitals, sudden crises, payments due immediately. Somehow her emergencies always aligned perfectly with my paydays. But the truth broke open the day a nurse handed me the wrong envelope by mistake. There were no procedures, no appointments, no tests, just piles of casino receipts, designer purchases, and bank transfers to my brother labeled with instructions to keep his mouth shut. That night, he wouldn't even meet my gaze. "She said you wouldn't help unless it sounded serious," he whispered. The room tilted, not because of that one lie, because I finally saw all of them at once. Every tear she'd shed had been a bargaining chip. Every dramatic plea had been a strategy. Every "you're such a good kid" had been bait. It snapped something clean inside me. I didn't explode. I didn't cry. I didn't throw accusations. I went completely still. People think stillness means surrender. They don't know it can also mean strategy. For months, I quietly traced every transfer I'd ever made. Every time I'd bailed her out, I spoke to a lawyer without saying a word to anyone else. I allowed her to think she still had me wrapped around her little finger. I stopped sending money. But before doing so, I set up automatic mail statements showing every payment I had ever made on her behalf. If there were 2 things she despised, it was being exposed and owing anyone anything. I made sure she felt both. The papers kept arriving at her door. Then the official letter from my lawyer requesting repayment for funds obtained through false claims. She didn't respond. She only waited for a moment when she could regain control by embarrassing me publicly. So Christmas became her battlefield. She thought calling me worthless in front of a room full of relatives would make me shrink. She didn't know I had already dismantled the quiet chains she'd kept on me. After my reply, the room tightened like something about to snap. Her mouth opened and closed like she was gasping for air. That's when I took out the envelope from my coat and placed it beside her plate. Her hand trembled as she opened it. Out spilled the copied bank records, the lawyer's notice, the gambling charges, the fake emergencies. The truth sat there on the table, impossible to breathe around. My siblings leaned closer, their faces changing shape as they read. "Mom, what is this?" my sister whispered. My brother pushed his chair back like he needed fresh air. "This is exaggerated," Mom croaked. I tilted my head. "No, these numbers are exact. You're the one who taught me to keep proof." Her lips shook, and in that instant, the power she'd held my whole life shattered. Not because she'd been caught, but because she finally understood she could no longer control me. I left before anyone could say another word. The cold outside hit me like clean water. Behind me, voices rose, shock, questions, chaos. But none of it touched me. I was no longer part of the role she'd written for me. People think revenge burns hot, but mine was cold, sharp, intentional, and quiet. And as I walked away, one thing became clear with perfect certainty. I was never the useless one. I was simply the only one she couldn't break. Her mistake was believing I always would be.